Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission is warning the general public and investing public to beware of Chinese firm CHY Heng Yue Group Limited, which has been undertaking electronic investment transactions. According to the capital market regulator, it has not licensed the firm to carry out any capital market activity, including investing or trading for returns as mandated by Section 3 of the Securities Industry Act. As such, CHY Heng Yue Group Limited cannot operate as an investment firm. It is therefore advising investors to consult the SEC through its toll-free line or main telephone number to confirm the licensing status of any firm offering products or services relating to investment in the capital market. The SEC reassured all market operators, investors, and the general public that it is dedicated to ensuring rigorous implementation of all the rules or operators in the capital market in order to promote the orderly growth and development of an efficient, fair, and transparent securities market. Well, this is the story. This is the public notice we're getting from the Securities and Exchange Commission. In another way, the company in question has also responded to this public notice. It says that it is not an investment company and never an investment company. Neither does it engage in any securities activity, hence the need to obtain and have the Securities and Exchange Commission license. The CHY Heng Yue Group Limited also considers these publications from SEC as timely and necessary as it seeks to educate and further distinguish the CHY more business separate from businesses under the mandate of the Securities and Exchange Commission. You can see their response there on the screen. It also goes on to say that management by this publication expects its service centers and leaders, especially within Ghana, to embark on proper and rigorous sensitization and public education. This, when done properly, will create the needed awareness of the CHY Heng Yue Group Limited business model and nature. This is a developing story getting from SEC, and the response, as you can see on your screens, from the company in question. It begs the question, what happens if you have your funds locked up there? What happens if you transact in business? Well, let's bring in the Executive Director and Financial Literacy Africa, Dr. Richmond Kwame Frimpong, who objects to the public notice by the Securities and Exchange Commission. He joins us via Zoom. Mr. Frimpong, we're so grateful that he joined us. Why this objection when especially SEC has, established its position based on specific sections of the Securities and Exchange Act?
Right. Good afternoon to our viewers, and thank you for having me. Not necessarily an objection, but some commentary on this position that is playing out.
Okay.
Remember, this is not the first time we are having to have a banter between an institution that says it's not under SEC and SEC also going out to the market to issue to the investing public of just being cautious. Now, when we say securities are simply what we call fungible and tradable financial instruments that are used to raise capital either in the public or the private markets. Now, there are basically three types of securities we have. There is a debt, there is a equity, and there is a hybrid. But whatever it is, whenever there is an exchange, and when there is trading, and when there is a raising of funds, then SEC in that space is responsible for supervising that exercise as a regulatory body. Now, with hindsight from what happened with Men's Gold, my expectation is that even before this release, SEC by this time should be having a conversation and an engagement with anybody that even registers this organization in question, and possibly even go underground and even become potential clients of this kind of organization and verify for themselves if indeed the transaction that is going on falls under the Securities and Exchange Commission, rather than to just issue a circular and say that customers should just be aware. Remember, when all is said and done and customers do not even heed and challenges happen to this kind of business, ultimately it is the government that will take responsibility, and SEC may be found wanting to probably take a second look at their position. So my expectation was that it was not just going to be just a circular released, but it was going to be something more than just issuing a circular.
But don't you feel that there have been some background checks, there's been some engagement between both parties, especially when SEC is much more insistent on the fact that they wouldn't want a replay of men's gold?
Right. So if SEC has done that work and anticipates that the organization is flouting the regulatory jurisdictions, then why is it just issuing a statement to its potential customers? Why is SEC not taking action if indeed the organization is flouting the regulations that SEC supervises?
So your argument is that there should be some closure of the premises?
Even if there's no closure, I'm saying SEC should do more than issuing just a circular. If SEC believes that indeed the organization is trespassing with any kind of securities trading regulation, it should do more with other parties. The organization is registered, I believe, and it is registered probably with the Registrar General. SEC should be able to engage with them. The organization, if SEC has verified that they are taking deposits or they are taking funds or they are raising capital, then there is more to just saying we are not under SEC. And if SEC just sits and issues a circular and the organization come to just issue a banter to the circular, then we are going back to the same game we had with men's gold. But I'm saying ultimately, it will come to bite the government, and SEC should do more than just issuing a circular.
You know, Richmond, we're having this discussion on the back of, some sort of criticism on the part of SEC, because this isn't the first time we're seeing this situation, rightly stated, the banter with men's gold for a while. What do you think is the lacuna in this whole, securities industry, especially when the world is evolving? Modes of transactions, financial transactions are mostly evolving. We recently had this discussion on Bitcoin. What do you think is the lacuna when it comes to regulations within these electronic sectors of transactional, activity?
I think the biggest lacuna we are anticipating in terms of regulation is our inability to build a financial services regulatory body, so that we don't have jurisdictions where banking, pensions, insurance, investment all have different regulators. And there is no center in terms of regulation that is able to hold any party that comes within that circle. Now, even with fintechs coming on board, you notice that now fintechs have some regulation from the central bank. And there's going to be a time where digital sales and digital trading like this would have to come somewhere under the financial services platform. Unfortunately, we don't have that now. And almost every one of these regulators is independently doing their thing somewhat.
Right.
Until we rise and consolidate financial services regulation, it will be difficult to have these authorities talk among themselves, share data, share ideas, and be able to nip organizations that try to play with regulation in this space in the bud.
Dr. Richmond Frimpong, we're so grateful that he joined us. He's the Executive Director for the Financial Literacy Africa on that developing story there from the Securities and Exchange Commission.